Okay, this is part two of my talk about the history of the world since about 1910. I'm not going to revise. I don't have enough time. So you'd watch part one and then please come through here. Part two, okay? The detective's name is Fisk, Vasily, and generally speaking, he's not talking right now. Okay. Okay, so imagine that you're a banker. And what do we want to talk about banks for? Well, banks basically keep businesses going. Banks are all involved with interest rates. Banks are involved with. Do we need banks anymore? What do you go to the bank for? A lot of times you go to the ATM to get cash out. Your banks give you a debit card and a credit card. Not too many people use paper checks anymore. You can go see a banker for a line of credit, which is another word for a loan. You can go there for a mortgage, which is another word for a loan. You can go there to put. You don't really go to the bank anymore to do investments. You pretty much use online investments. The old timers, old people would maybe use a stockbroker, but nowadays, people invest directly through their computers. So do we still need these bricks and mortars banks and ATMs? The plan for the world, according to the people at the top of the pyramid people, is to pretty much get rid of banks, pretty much get rid of cash money. How are you going to pay for things? Your accounts are going to be based upon let's not be too concerned about it, but they're going to basically chip you. Like pets, you can take them to the vet and get a little microchip put into the pet, so the pet ever runs away, and it's brought to the vet. The vet can use a scanner and can see, oh, my microchip says this belongs to Mr. Smith on Donald Street. And they call it Mr. Smith. We have your dog. This is the way that humans are going to do all their economic transactions. It's all going to be done by technology. They'll just identify you using a variety of different ways, biometrics, for example, or they could have a chip implanted in you. They could use an iris scan, fingerprints. They could use your brain waves to identify you. Lots of different technologies that can be used to identify you. So you can get rid of cash. And what's the benefit of getting rid of cash? It adds more control. If you've got cash, you can do under the table transactions. You want some painting done at your house, you can hire a painter, pay him cash, and then you don't have to pay any taxes to the government, and the person who's working doesn't have to report it as income tax. Like waiters in restaurants, they get tips. If it's cash tip, they can play around with what they want to report to the government for income tax. So it's going to tighten the screws down on transactions. And who else uses cash? Illegal stuff. Like if you want to buy some drugs, if you pay cash, then your drug dealer's got cash. If you get rid of cash, no one accepts cash anymore. How are you going to buy illegal drugs? It gets way more complicated. How are we going to get around this problem? Because there's a huge market for drugs, and the people at the top of the pyramid are very interested in every market there is on the planet. So they want to be part of the drug market, legal and illegal. Mostly what's going to happen is more and more legalization of formerly illegal substances so that they can be brought into the regular economy. And then opiates, at one time, there was an open market. They weren't illegal. You didn't have to have prescriptions. So anything like that is going to be legalized one way or another. And you're already seeing it with cannabis, and in Portugal, and in moving that way in Mexico, Uruguay, already seeing the regulation, relaxation, and legal markets for formerly illegal drugs. How about all the other things that are illegal? Well, if you don't have cash, how are you going to pay for a hooker? What's the point? The point is it smart for people at the top of the pyramid to be worried about you getting a hooker? No. The reason hookers were sort of made illegal, and even drugs made illegal, it was morality police. What do the people at the top of the pyramid want to do about morality? As the baton gets passed from generation to generation, church morality is used primarily to control people. If you're a churchgoer, then if you're in a strict kind of church, then you go to church wearing a suit. And women dress very conservatively. It's morality. We still have a lot of morality type people on the planet, and they are controlled by whatever makes them select these kinds of moralities. How do people at the top use it? They can separate you into one group of people that can be manipulated into wherever they want you to go based upon your morality and your religious dogmas, which are beliefs and traditions. What's the point of it all? It's just herding you around like sheep based upon things that you won't change. You're not flexible on a lot of things, moral, religious people. So, okay, we're going to talk about people who are amoral. People who are amoral don't give a rat's ass about what you're doing. They have got a hard-on. They're very horny, but not necessarily for sex. They're horny for control. They want a glass of water. They want it yesterday. What are they going to do? They're going to have a great big gun sitting on their table at the restaurant, and they're going to yell at you, "Bartender, I want water." And if you're not moving fast enough, they're going to shoot at the bar, right close to your head. That's these kind of people. Now, if you're at the top of the pyramid, what do you do with amoral people? That is actually the kind of people who are at the top of the pyramid. They have no morality whatsoever, other than I am the boss and I'm going to stay the boss. And if I have to use Niccolo Machiavelli, then I'm going to use Machiavelli. Machiavelli was a 1500s philosopher who wrote a book to sell to princes and kings and queens and aristocrats and small town mayors and small town places of chief. And it told them how to control the population. And it didn't say be nice to the people. It said be a brutal, dictatorial, horrible person. Because people won't respect you if they look up to you like you're Jesus. Everyone knows. People that are in their Jesus cults have a very hard time following Jesus and forgiving everyone. And the morality police, when you're a teenager and you're horny and your church says wait till you're after married, and you don't want to follow that because your hormones are raging. So what else do we know about the amoral people at the top of the pyramid? If you are a very scary person, erratic, apparently irrational, and you've got assassins, armies, police forces, secret spies, all working for you, the population is going to be afraid of you. They're going to be intimidated by you. And therefore, they are going to do what you say because they're scared of you. And that's what Machiavelli told the people in power, people at the top of the pyramid, way back in the 1500s. And what are they doing today? The same thing they did in the 1500s, following Machiavelli. So, what, again, I keep telling you, the plan of the people at the top of the pyramid, in control of planet Earth, these people up here, is to really reduce Earth population from 7.5 billion to 500,000 people. And they've been working on this plan and testing it out in various ways. They looked at Nazi Germany and their extermination program of primarily the Jewish population. They liked it. So they've continued on with these ideas of how do we exterminate people. And they've got a lot of different possibilities. In Nazi Germany, one way you could kill people was with a bullet. But bullets are, we think, pretty cheap, yes. But if you're going to do mass exterminations of millions of people, that's a lot of bullets. So the Nazis looked into what's a more effective way of killing off people. We're going to use poison gas and put them into an enclosed space and just release gas, and then they'll be dead. Okay, I'm Vasily Fist, the metaphysical detective. Why am I metaphysical? Because we are talking about not only straight sex, but we're also talking about bisexuals. Why? Well, because we have to get involved with Alexander, and that's a different person. There's a lot of different kinds of people on the planet. And if you're going to be at the top of the pyramid, you've got to know how to control them all and also use them to help you maintain control and profits. Please stay tuned for my next segment.